People make the mistake of accepting the imagery, but it is carefully planned to fool the viewer who accepts the art by feeling it is harmless when it is not.
Art is planned. We plan every single minute detail to whatever we're doing, whether we're painting, whether we're writing, whether we're making a movie, acting, singing. And it's no different in the embeds that artists will use in their particular works or sculptures or paintings or photographs. It's all planned. We don't throw paint around or throw words around or throw people around and just that's the way that it happened. That's not the case, especially with Renaissance artists and artists of a bygone era who first sketched out exactly what they were thinking about before they would get anyone near to paint those particular images. Tremendous planning went into these paintings, and it took years to actually finish them. So even if they were going in the wrong direction, they surely would fix it, but they didn't. They kept with the direction that was in the planning the entire time. We plan every single minute detail. Don't think that's not the case. Also, embedded images always turn out to be the same thing to everyone, once the conscious mind identifies it. The ridiculous excuse of staring at something long enough and you'll see something is a false challenge by deceptive creators, as embeds will only be seen if they're actually placed there. You can stare at a painted wall until the end of time, and nothing will be seen because nothing was purposely embedded. In fact, these organizations would never spend so much money and time on the process if it weren't incredibly effective.
When your brain tells you you know what you're doing and you've solved the problem, go back and take another look, because your brain tricks you very, very often. And we are in the business of tricking brains in our merchandising, advertising, and the selling of everything from religion to underarm deodorants. And we're very ill-equipped, and I assume on purpose. This stuff is not taught in universities, because if it did, there'd be a hell of a clamor publicly for the media people and perhaps the religions to stop it.
Dr. Stanley Monteith is the nationally syndicated talk show host of Radio Liberty, an accomplished author and lecturer on geopolitics, who has spent more than 30 years researching the causes for America's spiritual and moral decline.
You'll find these things in stained glass windows. You look at it every day, it'll have no significance at all to you. On the other hand, when somebody points it out to you, it may have a sexual significance, or there may even be a demonic significance to it. Many times, for instance, a star will be there, but the star will have, rather than the point upward, it'll be downward, which of course is a satanic emblem. And when you begin to understand what these emblems are, the frequency many times, whether it's the number 666 are used, we see this repeatedly in all sorts of media, and yet unless somebody points them out to us, we do not recognize them. St. Paul in the book of Thessalonians referred to the mystery of iniquity. There really is another dimension out there which most people are totally unaware of, and it's really the realm in which the spiritual battle for the souls of men is being fought. Now, what people do not understand is that these truly demonic forces do influence so much of what's going on today. Most people believe we're involved in a political battle, or an ideological battle, or a cultural battle. And I don't believe that at all. I believe we're involved in a spiritual battle that's being fought on a political, ideological, and cultural basis. And until people recognize where this real battle is, it's a spiritual battlefield, we can't understand anything that's going on today.
Probably much in the same way that a modern artist, a capable, creative, skilled artist, comparable to his relationship with Madison Avenue corporations. You're working for the church if you expect to eat regularly, and certainly in the Middle Ages and Renaissance. And the church hired artists. And they didn't hire them because they liked them particularly. As a matter of fact, there's a lot of evidence they distrusted them intensely. Michelangelo had a whole dozen priests follow him around at the instructions of the Pope to make sure he didn't put anything naughty up on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel.
In order for a widespread distribution of embedded occult and pornographic imagery to occur other than by use of the Internet, the Oregon Catholic Press, run by publisher John Lim, and distributed to approximately 2 of every 3 U.S. archdioceses, would accomplish this by putting millions of copies of such imagery on the covers of their hymnals and missals in the pews of American churches. Working with the OCP as well as on his own, Steve Spammer, a Marianist brother, has been supplying the world with numerous deformed artwork for many years.
Steve Spammer has a nasty habit of putting satanic symbols in his artwork, one of which is the 666, which in Revelation is the sign of the beast. In this particular painting, this red fire and blood painting of Jesus on the cross has twin 666s on each side of the cross. Spammer has, in many paintings, pictured Jesus with oblong arms, gigantic hands, and faces that are really blasphemous. I mean, in this particular face, he looks like he's drunk. His hands are up in the air like, oh, what do you want me to do? And on each side of him, there are a couple of scenes of people who are extremely close to each other. So close that, you know, their hips are well within the rear ends of each other during what is an elliptical shape where Jesus has these bandages wrapped around him. The elliptical shape is also used as a symbol of the vaginal opening, this Pietà, taken from Michelangelo's sculpture. If you notice, you see Mary's legs are extremely wide, spread wide open, which is inappropriate. And in addition, most of all, it's Jesus with, once again, his abdomen having the underside of a penis, such as the Bigalo crucifix and the San Damiano crucifix. Another 666, sometimes the sixes are backwards. This is well known throughout the art. You can make them upside down, inside out. But you see here an androgynous person. You don't know if this is a man or a woman, in a wild outfit, looking to the sky in a very harsh gray atmosphere, and 3 sixes sitting right in front of it. Don't expect to see a painter using font types that you find on your computer today. They're just not going to do it. They're trying to fool you consciously. So they're going to put their own handwriting. They're going to put sixes or other things together, or the word sex, in a way where you can't see it consciously. This is not the New Times Roman font or Arial or Helvetica or something. This is their handwriting, and they're going to utilize that to their advantage. Steve Spammer, again, loves to show Jesus as someone who's very tired, or high, or drunk, or out of his mind, not quite thinking, and he does this with his drooping nose and jowls and eyes. And here you have Jesus administering to a man. You don't see the man's face, but obviously he's right in the crotch region of Christ. In addition to that, Jesus has a tail. Steve Spammer's recollection of Jesus and Pontius Pilate. You see Pontius Pilate sitting on some kind of a judge's chair, and he has puckered lips, and Jesus is very submissive. But if you look, you'll see that hanging down from the chair of Pontius Pilate is a flaccid phallic symbol, inviting Jesus to perhaps perform something to get off on this particular crime that he committed. Steve Spammer has painted the dove coming in from the heavens, but he didn't quite make it. This dead dove with the closed eye has been overcome by the 3 six-pointed stars and the fire of hell and Satan. The fruit of the vine would, of course, encompass 666 as well. As you can see, there are 3 of them embedded, some upside down, some inside out, but right in the picture of this particular tree. The Oregon Catholic Press brought out the Today's Missal, done again by Steve Spammer, and this one's for Lent. And as you can see, Spammer just cannot get away from 666. He just puts in another 3 sixes wrapped around in between this Christ figure and stained glass. And at the end of these sixes would be what resembles a snake face, snake head, with a tongue inside each one of them. On top of that, you have what's supposed to be Christ, or is this an old man from the Bowery? He has a Bowery hat on, he has a band around the hat, he has discolored hands, one's one color, one's the other, one's a foot, it's a different color. And he could be taken. I mean, we can get him, we can get Jesus. He's an old man, it's all over. We can get him. That's the message that's being shown. Jesus is a bum, and 666 is preventing him from getting to the church, to the stained glass behind him. St. Francis of Assisi, who never can be seen to be left alone. He's often pictured with birds on him. But there's one problem. When you have the most unclean bird, symbol of Satan, symbol of the occult, and a problem not in Christianity, not seen in Christianity, which is the owl, an extremely unclean bird. Of course, this is the showcase bird for St. Francis of Assisi in this picture. He has it in his left hand, sinister hand, as if he's saying, poof, here's the owl. And the owl's looking right at you, like, what are you going to do about it?
Shortly after the initial OCP discoveries, Kalache logged into EWTN, the global Catholic network founded by Mother Angelica, who often used the phrase Luciferian influence in the Catholic Church. She has been recently silenced by a mysteriously lingering illness and subsequent medication.